13 ways to train your mind stay calm in any situation. Have you ever found yourself caught in a storm of emotions, unable to think clearly as life throws curveballs your way? One moment, everything seems calm, like a gentle stream. But the next, you're plunged into the chaos of stress, frustration, and uncertainty. So, what do you do when life throws you off course like this? Is it possible to stay calm, no matter what's happening around you? The answer is yes, and it's not as elusive as it seems. Calmness is not reserved for sages or exceptional individuals. It's a skill that anyone can develop, a habit that can be trained and perfected each day. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The true power lies not in controlling the external world, but in mastering our inner world. In this journey, we'll explore how to train our minds to remain calm and composed, even when the world seems to be spiraling out of control. Because the secret to peace isn't avoiding life's challenges, it's learning how to face them with grace. 1. Control your mind, or let it control you. Have you ever experienced a moment where your mind feels like it's working against you? It's as if your thoughts are no longer yours, but instead, they take on a life of their own. Negative emotions such as anger, fear, or frustration suddenly flood your mind, and before you know it, you're reacting impulsively, only to regret it later. This is a struggle many of us face, and it's a common part of being human. The mind can easily become a battlefield where emotions fight for control, pushing us to act in ways that are often not aligned with our values or intentions. So the crucial question is, do you control your mind, or does it control you? Imagine this. You're at a social gathering, feeling relaxed, enjoying a conversation, when suddenly someone makes a sharp, unkind remark about you in front of everyone. What happens next? The immediate surge of offense is overwhelming. Your heartbeat quickens, your breath gets shallow, and anger begins to rise. The natural urge is to react instantly, to defend yourself, retaliate, or perhaps even walk out in anger. But pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is that truly you reacting, or is it just an automatic response of your mind, fueled by impulse? Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." This timeless wisdom calls us to reflect on our reactions. It's not the event that causes suffering, it's how we perceive it. If you view the negative comment as an insult, you'll feel hurt. But if you perceive it as just an opinion, something fleeting, it will pass without leaving any lasting impact. Stoicism doesn't demand that we suppress our emotions. Instead, it teaches us to master them. The goal is not to force ourselves to avoid feeling anger or sadness, but rather to control how we respond to these emotions. In our social gathering example, instead of succumbing to that immediate rush of anger, a Stoic would take a moment to breathe, to observe their internal reaction as an outsider. They would recognize the anger rising, but choose not to act on it. Instead of lashing out or retreating in shame, they would maintain their composure, perhaps offering a calm smile or simply letting the remark pass without acknowledgement. The power lies in the reaction you choose. By not giving in to that immediate urge to act, you regain control. This not only keeps you from the negative consequences of impulsive reactions, but it also shifts the dynamic. When someone expects anger or defensiveness but instead receives calmness, they are often left unsettled, unsure of how to react. This is the strength of a mind that is trained to remain still amidst the storm. 2. Anger doesn't solve problems. Anger is a natural reaction. It arises when we feel disrespected, threatened, or wronged. But here's the question. Does anger actually solve anything? The truth is, while it may feel empowering in the moment, anger clouds our judgment and prevents us from acting wisely. It may feel like a rush of strength, a momentary reclaiming of power, but in reality, anger rarely leads to constructive outcomes. In fact, it often makes situations worse, adding fuel to the fire rather than extinguishing it. Consider this. You're driving on a busy highway, maintaining a steady pace, when suddenly, another car cuts you off without warning. Instantly, anger flares up. Your heart races, your hands grip the wheel tighter, and your first impulse is to accelerate, honk your horn, or shout. But ask yourself, what will that do? Will your reaction change anything? Will it make the road safer or improve the situation in any way? According to Stoicism, we cannot control the actions of others, but we can absolutely control how we respond. As Epictetus wisely pointed out, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In that split second when anger surges, a Stoic practitioner takes a moment to pause. They breathe deeply, reflect, and ask themselves, is this really worth losing my peace over? This pause is the key. If the answer is no, anger loses its power over you. It becomes a signal, a sign that something is wrong, but it does not control your actions. When we recognize that our anger will not change the circumstances, we can let go of the need to act on it immediately. This gives us the opportunity to choose a more measured, thoughtful response. In that same traffic scenario, instead of responding in anger, you could take a deep breath, acknowledge the situation, and continue driving calmly. By not reacting, you're not only avoiding an escalation, but you're also taking back control of your own emotional state. Anger, after all, only serves to distract and disrupt our inner peace. It never resolves the issue at hand. 3. Calmness is strength. In today's world, we often associate strength with being loud, confrontational, and quick to react. We see the loudest voice in a room as the most powerful, the angriest person as the one who is in control. But the Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, teach us a different truth. True strength lies in calmness. The person who can maintain composure, especially in moments of chaos, is the one who has mastered themselves. Imagine this. You're in an important meeting, and a colleague sharply criticizes your idea in front of everyone. The room falls silent, and all eyes turn to you, waiting for your response. In that moment, you have two choices. The first is to retaliate immediately, defending your idea with equal sharpness. This will likely escalate the tension in the room, turning the conversation into a confrontation with no real resolution. The second choice is to remain calm, take a deep breath, and respond thoughtfully, without anger or frustration. This approach shows not only your emotional intelligence, but also your strength. Remaining calm does not mean being passive or weak. It's a deliberate choice to respond with dignity, to refuse to let external circumstances dictate your emotional state. It's a strategy that requires strength and discipline. The one who can stand firm in the face of provocation, who can maintain composure when others expect anger or defensiveness, is the one who ultimately holds the power. The power of calmness isn't just in how it affects those around you, it also transforms you. When you choose calm over reaction, you disarm your opponent. They may be looking for a fight, but instead, they encounter a composed individual who refuses to be dragged into their emotional whirlwind. This shift in dynamics often leaves the person who provoked you feeling more unsettled than you. And that is the true power of mastering your mind. It's not about reacting to others. It's about controlling yourself, your responses, and your emotions. For life is unfair, but that doesn't matter. Have you ever felt like life just isn't fair? You work hard, pour your heart and soul into something, but someone else, who seemingly did less, reaps the rewards. Or perhaps you've been kind and trustworthy, only to have others betray your trust. These moments feel crushing, like life is out to get you. But here's an essential truth that Stoicism teaches. Life is unfair, but that doesn't matter. What truly matters is how we respond to life's injustices. The Stoic philosophers understood that we cannot control the world around us. We cannot make everyone treat us fairly, or ensure that every effort we put forth will result in success. But we can control how we react to these situations. When faced with injustice, we have a choice: to be consumed by resentment and anger, or to rise above it and focus on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions. Consider the story of Nick Vujicic, who was born without arms and legs. To most people, this would seem like the ultimate misfortune. His childhood was filled with struggles, insecurities, and feelings of helplessness. At one point, he even considered ending his life. But then, he made a profound realization: if he couldn't change his fate, he could change how he faced it. Nick didn't allow his circumstances to define him. Instead, he learned to live independently and became an inspirational speaker, touching millions of lives. His story exemplifies the essence of Stoicism. We cannot control the circumstances of our lives, but we can always control our reactions to them. You might find yourself in an unfair situation today. Maybe you've been overlooked for a promotion, or treated unjustly by someone you trusted. But instead of letting these external circumstances dictate your emotions, choose to focus on what you can control: your response. This is the foundation of Stoic wisdom. Life is full of unfairness, but it doesn't define us. Our response to those challenges is what truly shapes who we are. 5. Losing control is a choice. Many of us believe that our emotions are solely dictated by the world around us, by the people who mistreat us, the events that don't go our way, or the unexpected obstacles that arise. We feel justified in losing control because we believe these external factors are responsible for how we feel. But if you dig deeper, you'll realize that losing control is actually a choice. Take a moment and think about this. You're standing in line at the supermarket, waiting patiently, when someone blatantly cuts in front of you. Immediately, you feel a surge of anger. Your heart races, your fists clench, and you're ready to lash out. But instead of acting impulsively, you recall an important principle of Stoicism. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control how you react. This is a key realization. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus emphasize that it's not the events themselves that harm us, but our beliefs about those events. No one can make you lose control unless you allow it. When someone insults you or when things don't go as planned, the real question is, do you choose to react with anger or do you choose to remain calm? Think of someone you admire, perhaps a mentor, a teacher, or a colleague. Someone who always seems to stay calm under pressure. Have you ever wondered why they don't easily lose their temper? It's not because they don't feel anger or frustration. It's because they understand that losing control is a choice, and they choose not to. There's a story about a man who, while riding a crowded train during rush hour, accidentally stepped on an old man's foot. The young man immediately apologized, but the elderly man simply smiled and continued reading his book without a word. A passenger nearby, curious, asked the old man why he wasn't upset. The old man replied, "He didn't do it on purpose, and I don't want to waste my time being angry. My anger won't ease the pain in my foot. It would only burden my mind." This story illustrates a powerful truth. Our reactions are not inevitable. Anger, frustration, and anxiety are not automatic responses to what happens to us. They are the result of how we choose to interpret and react to those events. So, when you feel that surge of negative emotion, pause. Ask yourself, will reacting in this way help? Will it solve anything? This is the essence of Stoic practice, understanding that we always have a choice in how we respond. And when we make the conscious decision to stay calm, we not only prevent ourselves from losing control, but we also disarm those who might be trying to provoke us. Silence, calmness, and measured responses are often more powerful than any angry outburst or argument. 6. Don't get stuck in the past or future. How often do we find ourselves trapped between two uncontrollable realities, the past, and the future. We dwell on past mistakes, regrets, and missed opportunities, and we worry about future events that haven't even happened yet. This mental tug-of-war between what's already gone and what hasn't arrived is one of the greatest sources of anxiety and stress in life. But here's the Stoic truth. If you want to train your mind to stay calm in any situation, you must learn to break free from this vicious cycle. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, said, "Remember that man lives only in the present. All the rest of his life is either past and gone or not yet revealed." This is a powerful reminder. The present moment is the only thing we truly have control over. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain, so why let them dictate your peace? When we spend too much time reflecting on the past or obsessing over the future, we rob ourselves of the one moment where action and control are possible, the present. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's in front of us right now, not on what's already past or what may or may not happen. The key to peace is found in mindfulness, staying aware of the present and taking full ownership of this moment. A story that beautifully illustrates this idea comes from tennis champion Novak Djokovic. In the past, Djokovic struggled with obsessing over previous losses and fearing future outcomes. These thoughts would overwhelm him and distract him during crucial points in matches. But everything changed when he learned to live in each moment, focusing solely on the present point in the game, rather than worrying about what had happened or what might happen next. This shift in mindset didn't just improve his game, it helped him overcome tough opponents and master his emotions. Every shot, every point, became an opportunity for calmness and clarity. His ability to stay present allowed him to navigate challenges with a clear mind, ultimately leading to success. Djokovic's story teaches us that the true battle is not external but internal, and the ability to control your mind is what enables you to perform at your best, no matter the circumstances. So, how can we apply this in our own lives? The first step is to recognize when your mind is wandering to the past or the future, and gently guide it back to the present. Focus on your breath, on the sensations in your body, and on the tasks at hand. By anchoring yourself in the present moment, you gain control over your mind, and in turn, you find peace. 7. Life is chaotic, but calmness lies within you. Life is inherently chaotic. We don't have to look far to see the unpredictability it brings. One moment, everything is calm, and the next, we find ourselves facing unexpected crises, whether it's a difficult conversation, a sudden argument, or an unforeseen challenge at work. The world outside may be in turmoil, but what matters is how we respond. Your calmness in the face of chaos is not just a skill, it is your greatest strength. Imagine a moment of intense stress, like driving in heavy traffic. Another driver cuts you off, forcing you to slam on the brakes. The instinctual reaction is anger, a rush of frustration as your heart starts racing. But ask yourself, will reacting in anger change anything? Will it make the situation better or worse? In moments like this, your true power lies in your ability to stay calm. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control the chaos of the world, we can control how we react to it. When you maintain your composure amidst the storm, you've already won the battle. Here's where silence and calmness become powerful tools. When others expect anger, frustration, or a defensive reaction, your calmness becomes unsettling to them. It disarms them. It prevents them from dragging you into their emotional chaos. And more importantly, it preserves your peace. This doesn't mean ignoring your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It means recognizing that your inner peace is far more important than getting swept up in the emotional whirlwind of the moment. When everything around you is spiraling, being the one person who remains calm is a reflection of your inner strength. Consider this. You're in a heated family argument. People are shouting, voices rising in frustration. The urge to respond quickly is strong, Your heart is pounding, your body tensing, your mind flooded with words to defend yourself. But before you react, you remember that in those moments, the urge to react is powerful. We want to shout, fight back, or let our frustrations spill out. But instead of giving in to those impulses, the Stoic approach is to pause, breathe, and reflect. This is where true strength lies, not in the immediate reaction, but in the space we create between the stimulus and our response. In that space lies the power to choose. When we train our minds to remain calm, we regain control over our emotions, and with that control comes a sense of inner peace that cannot be shaken by external events. You might wonder how to begin training for calmness. It's not an overnight transformation. Like any skill, it requires consistent practice. Start small. When something frustrates you, take a moment to breathe and observe your emotions. Acknowledge them without judgment, and then consciously choose how you want to respond. This simple practice is the first step toward mastering your emotional reactions and cultivating a calm mindset. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to navigate life's challenges with grace and poise. Eventually, you'll find that calmness is no longer something you have to force. It becomes a natural part of your response, even in the most trying situations. 10. The power of silence. In a world that often values loudness and confrontation, silence can seem like a weakness. Society tends to praise those who speak out, defend their positions aggressively, or raise their voices in the face of opposition. But in reality, silence can be one of the most powerful tools in maintaining control over ourselves and our surroundings. The Stoics understood that true strength is not in how loudly we can argue, but in how calmly we can respond to adversity. Imagine a situation where someone attacks you verbally. Perhaps a colleague criticizes your ideas in front of others, or a friend makes an unnecessary comment. The natural impulse is to defend yourself, to retaliate, to explain why they're wrong. But when you engage in this back and forth, you're playing into the hands of those who want to provoke you. In contrast, choosing silence, or a calm, measured response, allows you to regain control over the situation. When you remain silent in the face of criticism, it disrupts the expectations of the person provoking you. They might be looking for a reaction, but instead, they are met with composed stillness. This calmness often makes the aggressor uncomfortable, forcing them to reflect on their words and actions. Silence, then, becomes not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of inner strength. It's a clear message that you will not be manipulated by someone else's emotions. This practice of silence doesn't mean avoiding confrontation or accepting mistreatment. It means choosing to respond thoughtfully, without giving in to emotional impulses. When you control your reactions, you affirm that you are in charge of the situation, not the person trying to provoke you. And in many cases, your calmness will serve as a more powerful response than any words could. Think about a time when silence made a difference in your own life. Perhaps you were able to avoid an argument or diffuse a tense situation simply by staying calm and not engaging in an emotional exchange. Over time, you'll begin to notice that silence, when chosen deliberately, becomes a shield that protects your peace and a weapon that disarms those who would otherwise disrupt it. 11. Training your mind is an ongoing practice. When it comes to maintaining calmness in any situation, it's important to remember that this isn't a one-time effort. It's an ongoing practice. Just like any skill, mental discipline requires continuous attention and refinement. The Stoics believed that self-control, emotional resilience, and mental clarity aren't innate traits. They are developed through consistent effort and awareness. It's not about being perfect, but about getting better over time. Every day, we face small moments where we can practice calmness. From a frustrating interaction at work, to the unpredictable behavior of others, to the minor inconveniences we experience in daily life. Each of these situations is an opportunity to train our minds. The more we consciously choose to respond calmly, the more it becomes second nature. Take the example of a frustrating encounter with a customer service representative. Perhaps they are unhelpful or even rude. The natural reaction might be to match their energy, responding with frustration or impatience. But if you pause and choose to remain composed, you not only avoid escalating the situation, but also demonstrate the power of choosing your response. This doesn't mean being passive or submissive. It means asserting your needs or concerns without losing your sense of peace. Over time, you'll notice a shift. What once might have triggered an emotional outburst now feels like an opportunity to practice patience. This doesn't mean you won't feel frustration or anger. They are natural human emotions. But it means you learn to control them, rather than allowing them to control you. As you get better at this practice, your mind will become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever life throws at you. Remember, the Stoics never expected perfection. They understood that mastery is a lifelong journey. They acknowledged that there would be setbacks, but what mattered was the effort to keep improving. So take heart in knowing that every time you choose calmness, you're moving closer to mastering your mind and embracing the peace that comes from within. 12. The storm will pass, but your calmness is what stays. Life is full of storms. Some are small, others feel like overwhelming tempests that threaten to uproot everything in their path. We've all experienced moments when the world seems to come crashing down, when challenges pile up, and when we feel as though we're being swept away by the chaos. But the Stoic perspective reminds us that, while we cannot control the storm, we have complete control over our response to it. In the midst of life's difficulties, it's easy to feel like we're losing ground. But if you look closely, you'll realize that your inner peace remains with you, even when everything around you is in turmoil. It is this inner calm that becomes your anchor in the storm. While external events may shake you, they do not have to determine your emotional state. Think of a time when you've been in a difficult situation. Perhaps you were faced with a personal loss, a professional setback, or an unexpected crisis. In that moment, the natural reaction might have been panic, frustration, or even despair. Yet, when you chose to pause and center yourself, you likely found a sense of calm that helped you navigate through the storm. This calmness didn't mean that the situation resolved instantly. It meant that you maintained control over yourself despite the external chaos. In Stoicism, the idea is not to avoid suffering or challenges, but to embrace them with composure. The storms of life are inevitable, but your ability to remain calm through them is what determines your strength. The more you practice remaining calm in difficult situations, the more you will find that you are able to handle whatever life throws your way. Remember, the storm will pass, but your calmness, once cultivated, becomes an unshakable foundation that remains with you. It is not just the ability to weather the storm, it is the ability to remain unmoved by it. 13. Mastering your mind, mastering your life. When it comes to achieving peace and maintaining composure, the key is understanding that the mind is the ultimate source of both our peace and our turmoil. The Stoics knew that everything starts with the mind. How we interpret the world, how we respond to others, and how we handle the challenges that come our way. All of this begins with our mental framework. Master your mind, and you master your life. Think of the moments when your mind is calm and focused. Perhaps you are immersed in a task, at peace with your thoughts, and moving through life with purpose. In these moments, you feel clear-headed, balanced, and in control. You understand that life will always present difficulties, but none of those difficulties can steal your peace if you choose to control your responses. The practice of Stoicism doesn't promise a life free of challenges. It promises a life where your peace is not dictated by external events. Whether you're dealing with a difficult person, an unexpected setback, or the weight of the world, you have the power to decide how to react. You can choose to let those challenges disturb your peace, or you can choose to remain steady, rooted in your understanding of what you can control. As we move through life, it's easy to become overwhelmed by emotions, fear, anger, frustration, or sadness. But the Stoics teach us that emotions are not something to be feared or suppressed. They are simply signals, not directives. By acknowledging our emotions and understanding them, we can decide how to respond, rather than allowing them to drive our actions. This is the essence of self-mastery, not controlling every thought or feeling, but controlling how we react to them. And when we train our minds to respond with wisdom, clarity, and calmness, we open the door to a life of greater peace and fulfillment. Life's storms are inevitable. We can't control the chaotic events that happen around us, nor can we dictate how others behave, but we can control how we respond. This is where true power lies. the ability to remain calm, composed, and focused, even when everything around us is spinning out of control. By mastering our minds, we take back control over our emotions, and in doing so, we shape our responses and our future. Stoicism teaches us that the world will never be perfect, but it's in our reactions to those imperfections where we find strength. As you face life's challenges, remember that your calmness is not a sign of weakness, it's your greatest strength. In the chaos, you have the ability to choose peace. So, as you move through your day, ask yourself, how will I respond to the next challenge that comes my way? Will I give in to the storm, or will I choose to stand firm in my own calmness? The more you practice this, the stronger and more resilient you will become. It's your mind. You control it. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, don't let the message stop here. Like, comment, and subscribe to continue on this journey of self-mastery. And share this video with others who might need a little peace in their lives. Together, we can create a community that chooses calmness over chaos. Remember, life may be unpredictable, but your peace is yours to master. Now go out there and own it.